Hey there YouTube, this is Mr.Lubufu continuing on with my Khans of Tarkir complete set review, mostly for limited. This time we're going to talk about black cards. So I'm just going to go ahead and hop right in. First we have Bellowing Saddle Brute. So it's a 4-mana 4/5, so very efficiently costed. But when it enters the battlefield, you lose 4 life unless you attack with a creature. Not a hard ability to trigger. I think it's quite strong. It triggers Ferocious, given Ferocious is mostly in teamwork colors, but it triggers Ferocious. It's very, it's pretty much the stock body for this format. There's a lot of 4 power guys and a lot of 5 toughness guys. But he's very aggressively costed. I think he could be a pretty good card to play. We have Bitter Revelation. So let's look at the top 4 cards. Put 2 into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. You lose 2 life. It's a very expensive Sign Bloods variant. But this format's so slow, it's okay. You can play 1 or 2 of these and you'll be just fine. We have Bloodsoaked Champion, which is quite good if you're in a raid deck. Not only does it only cost 1, which is already a good thing, but so you can trigger raid, and then if you just attack it, you can always, like, if they ever block it, right, you could just pay 2 because you attacked with a creature, so you can always return it back. So it's a guy that's for free, triggering raid, which is pretty nice in this format. He's also very aggressively costed. He gets outscaled kind of fast with all the morph guys, but I kind of like him in limited, and I don't normally like my 1-drops in limited. Next we have Dead Drop. So it's 10 mana for target player sacrifices 2 creatures. Yes, it has Delve, but it's still very expensive if you can't trigger Delve fast enough. So, I mean, if you can get this to cost 4 or 5, then it's pretty strong, but otherwise I'm not that impressed with it. Debilitating Injury is like Deadweight, except it costs 1 more. But it's very good in this format because of all of the crazy morph creatures. Oh my goodness, this card's gonna be good. Stab Wound was not Stab Wound. Stab Wound's far better. Deadweight was quite strong in Innistrad, and this is going to be quite strong in this format. One of the top black commons of the set. Next we have Despise, which is not that good in limited. I might see some standard play, but Despise in limited is never that impressive. Next we have Disowned Ancestor, so it's a 1-mana 0/4 that has Outlast. So it's okay. It's not that impressive, to be completely honest, but it's a card. I won't play too many of these guys, to be completely honest. Next, you have Dutiful Return. 4 mana, 2 creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. Kind of expensive for the cost, not that good. Empty the Pits. I don't think it's good enough for limited. First of all, you need quad black, which is really hard to do. And at most, you're probably going to get 4 zombies tops, which 4 zombies might be good enough. But for the mana investment and the delve investment, I'm not a huge fan of it. Grim Haruspex, though. This guy, for those of you that remember Absent Restored, there was a card with the same effect, and this guy is really good. You might even see standard play in like black aggro decks because he has a very cheap morph cost. He's very aggressively costed as a 3-mana 3/2. I like him. I like him a lot, and for limited too. We have Gurmag Swiftwing. So it's a 1-mana 1/2 flying first strike haste. There's quite a few 1 toughness flyers, but it's not that good. I'm not a huge fan of it. It's hard to build. It's hard to build a Voltron effect like you could in Theros block. Next you have Keru Bloodsucker. So it's a 3-mana 2/2. So kind of underwhelming body wise. But whenever a creature you control with toughness 4 or greater dies, each opponent loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life, and you can sacrifice a creature to put a counter on him. This guy's actually quite strong. There's a lot of creatures with 5 toughness in this format, a lot of them. So this guy, and also he can invalidate your opponent's removal because you could just sacrifice a creature to put a counter on him. Definitely a good guy. I like him. Next we have Kiru Dreadmaw. It's a 5-mana 4/4 defender that sack a creature, you gain life equal to its toughness. The fact that it's a 4/4 and not a 4/5 kind of takes away from a lot of the power of this guy. He does trigger Ferocious, which is fine, and you're committed to 2 colors by picking him, and he kind of invalidates removal, but I don't like him. The fact he has Defender and he doesn't block so many of the 4/5s in this format kind of takes away a lot. Krumar Bondkin is a 5/3 for 5 that has more for 5. I don't like him that much. 3 toughness is not what you want to have in this format. The 5 power is okay, but the 3 toughness, he'll just trade with so many creatures. Next you have Mardu Skull Hunter, so it's a 2-mana 2/1, enters battlefield tapped, that if you attacked, target opponent discards a card, which is okay. It's not that impressive. We have Elk Nightblades, 4-mana 2/3 with Outlast, that each creature with a +1/+1 counter has Death Touch. Not bad. If you have a decent Abzan themed deck going, it can do some work. Molting Snakeskin, so it's a 1-mana enchant creature that you can pay 3 to regenerate, and it gets +2/+0. I'm not a huge fan of these sort of auras. Regeneration is actually decent, but it's kind of lackluster, I think. Next you have Murderous Cut, which this is a very good removal spell for limited. Destroy target creature. Yeah, you're going to have to delve for it to be very good, but even at 5 mana for this format, it's quite strong. So, good card. Necropolis Fiend, another good card. It's a giant flyer already, which is good. And then you can just start killing creatures. You really have to work around him to make Delve relevant for him. So you can use his ability and cast it for somewhat cheap. But even as a 4/5 flyer for like 5 or 6, he's fine. Raider's Spoils is one of these build around me enchantments, but it's not as good. There were quite a few warriors in the set, so it's not like there isn't the support for it, but you kind of have to work hard for it. Next we have Rasakshas Secrets. So it's a 3-mana target opponent. So it's Mind Rot plus you mill 2. So it's good for Delve, but it's Mind Rot, which I sometimes have been known to play, but it's not that impressive. Retribution of the Ancients is a card that I don't particularly like for limited. Yeah, you could start picking off your opponent's creatures, but it's really slow in this format. It's hard to get a lot of +1/+1 counters. It's all really slow incremental advantage. Next you have Rite of the Serpent, which is 6 mana, destroy target creature, which in this format, really, really, really good. One of the top black commons in the set. Even if you don't get the snake. 6 mana, destroy target creature, even at sorcery speed. We learned from Sip of Hemlock, right? This card can get out of hand. Or not get out of hand, but it's a card that's strong in this format. It's really slow. Rallying Mastodon's a giant 2/8. That's hard for things to go by. I don't like it that much, though. Ruthless Ripper, very good. Apart from having just a 1/1 Death Touch in this format, which blocks everything, which is quite good with a format with giant creatures. You can also play it face down and eat something in combat, so it's fine. I like it. Shambling Attendance, it's a 3/5, so the 5 toughness is relevant, and it doesn't really matter about the power because it has Death Touch. Given if you're not casting this guy for 4 or 5 mana, he's not that efficient, so you really have to make Delve work, which is kind of what I've been saying about all of these cards. But if you can get this guy in play, you know, he's actually quite strong in play because he just blocks everything. CC's Pet, it's a 4-mana 1/4 lifelink with Morph. Unfortunately, it has 4 toughness and gets eaten by everything that triggers Ferocious, and there's a lot of it, so it's not that good. Sultai Scavenger, it's a 6-mana 3/3 flyer with Delve. Even if you can Delve for 1 mana, makes it a 5-mana 5/5 or 5-mana 3/3 flyer, which is the stock value. So even Delve 1 makes this guy fair to play. So I think this guy's actually decent. Not a lot of 3 toughness guys in limited that have flying, so definitely can get out of hand. We have Swarm of Broodflies, so it's a 5 mana. It starts out as a 2/2 flyer, but whenever another creature dies, you put a +1/+1 counter on him, which is actually quite good. You cast this guy. There's some combat that happens. There's going to be a lot of creatures dying in this format, I think, because it's so slow and everything's going to be defined by combat. So this guy gets out of hand. Definitely, I think, a strong uncommon. Next, we have Throttle. Target creature gets -4/-4 until end turn. Strong removal spell. Even though there's a lot of 5 toughness, this guy, or the Throttle makes, if they attack, you're like, block Throttle, kill your guy. So, good removal spell. I like it, even though it costs 5 and is super expensive. And lastly, Unyielding Krumar. It's a 4 mana, 3/3 that can gain first strike. It's okay. Not that impressive, but that's all I can say about it. It does commit you to 2 colors, so keep that in mind. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Thank you guys all for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Rate, comment, subscribe, and be sure to check out the other parts of this series. Thank you all for watching.